Hello friends and welcome to this video. My name is Shahab, and in this video I want to speak about the third step of adding a new entity, which is add service. Well, it's time to create the service as the third step. In the services layer and inside the entities service, we need to create a folder for school module. Inside this folder, we need to create two other folders. First, let me take a look at accounting sample. As you see, there are two folders, contracts and services. Contracts is for the interfaces and services is for the services itself. Well, I will do the same. Now inside the contracts, I need to add an interface. I will call it IStudentService. IStudentService. Okay, here we need to implement IGenericEntityService. Let me add its using. Well, as you see here, there are three parameters. First of all, the entity, the second parameter is DTO, and the third parameter is the type of the primary key. Well, the entity here is student and it's using. The second one is the student DTO, and the third one is the type of the primary key, which here is an integer. I can put it here, but by default the type of the primary key is an integer, and I can remove it here. Now the service itself. Here, this class needs to inherit from GenericEntityService. And again, three parameters need here. First of all, the entity. The second one, student DTO. And the third one is the type of the primary key, which is an integer, but I will remove it because by default it is an integer. Let me implement this. And also we need to inherit from IStudentService. Well, now we need to register this service. For this purpose, inside the web API layer and inside this folder registration services, we need to register our service inside entity service. Well, here as you see, for the sample one there is a registration for accounting service. Well, I will copy this one and paste it here, and I will change it to, and again based on the sample here IStudentService, and it's using, and the service itself. Then in the registration entity service, I need to register my service here. Services dot, let me copy the name. Well, here inside this class you will find injection for different modules. Okay, now here inside the student service you can use the default functions. All of these functions you will find them inside the AUAFramework.com, inside the documents menu, and by clicking on this button you will redirect to the documentation, and inside the services you will find all entity service with their explanations. All of these functions will add to the service by default. Now in the Web API project and inside the areas folder, I need to create a folder for the school module. Well, now take a look at the sample one. Inside this accounting folder there is a controllers folder, and inside that there are different controllers for different purpose. Okay, now inside the school folder I will add my controller, actually my API controller, which is student controller. This controller needs to inherit from base API controller. And now let me create a simple service to test. Something like this. Let me add it using perfect. All API services return a result model of any types. Well, now I need to inject the service. Student service, new student, well, let me complete it. Here, as you see, there is creator user ID. By this you can get the ID of active user equal user ID. Well, let me put a var here as student ID, and also the verb here. Okay, now run the project. Well, here for the student, okay, before executing let me check the SQL server and the table of student, which is empty now. Perfect, it is success, and the table which is filled by our data. Okay, now let me put student detail here. Student detail. F2, LN2, another one, for example, is active, is true. Okay, now run the project. It is true. And new entries. Okay, now I want to do it again in async. Well, public async task of result model here, insert async, shortest async, and await here, and new entries fn3, ln also 3, and 33 is active, nothing. Run the project. Well, student here, try it out, and executing. The success is true, and the new entry. Well, this was the end of adding a new entity in the AUA. Thanks for watching.